from a distance you can see large coverage of soil on the lake, whereby the experts say that the soil from upstream, that is from River Suswa and Kajiado, the soil that has come with the rains. As you can remember, we have had floods in Kajiado County, and the rains have brought about the soil into the lake, which is covering the trona. That is the mining. That is the mine. That is the trona, which is the raw material from the lake. And they're saying that it has brought a big effect on the lake, whereby it is covering the main mine. And we are here with we have come with the Tata Chemicals Magadi Limited, whereby they are trying to create awareness with the Kenyan and tourists to the lake. They're saying that the main effect is deforestation on the upstream and poor farming methods by the Kenyans, whereby they're saying that from the deforestation, the soil is easily carried into the lake. Now they're trying to restore the lake. Back to you, Ian.
Well, maybe Nick, if you can bring us up to speed, what are environmentalists saying are the solutions towards saving Lake Magadi?
Now, they're saying that if you want to restore Lake Magadi, Ian, afforestation is a major thing that Kenyans should embrace for now. And again, urging Kenyans to come together to save the lake, that is especially from the government and from the politicians, to talk to the people at least, to see ways forward as to which every Kenyan can get involved in solving this problem.
And maybe, Nick, if you've talked to some of the residents who are just around the lake, what are they feeling about this? Are they also participating in trying to save the lake?
Actually, they are much more concerned than anybody else. And the moment, some of them are saying that they've lived around the area for so many years, but they've not seen this before, whereby it is creating so many questions as to what is happening for now. And they are much concerned about what the government is willing to do to save the lake for now, because they're saying that it is a major income for them. That is whereby most of the youth pick up jobs in the company. And right now they're saying that if this continues, then they're not going to get jobs around the company or around the area, which is the major area of income for them.
Thank you very much. That is Nick Wambua joining us from Lake Magadi, where environmentalists and even residents are generally concerned that the lake is dying from deposition of and soil erosion. Now, moving on, despite the president's warning against looting and destruction during the alcohol raids, businessmen are still counting massive losses in different areas. During the looting, some residents have been reported to also steal drums full of second-generation brew under crackdown. Asha Mwilu reports.
The president's directive on fighting illicit brews was taken seriously. The weekend ended in high gear, with central Kenyan politicians leading the raids on local brewers specializing in second-generation brews.
Some people thought it was politics, but when we went in there, even myself, I was shocked, because it's nothing but a sewage in the name of an alcohol factory.
As it began, the country cheered on. Thousands of liters of the hard stuff drained into the soil. Bottles broken, releasing the rage in women who've suffered the brunt of having alcoholic husbands and sons. But then, a new narrative has emerged, one of destruction. Seen here, young men have raided a local brewing company in Thika, looting all of the company's drums used to store the alcohol.
Wengi walikuwa wamepotelea pombeni na sasa watarejea manyumbani. Watoto watazaliwa na wasichana wetu watapata kwa kuolewa.
As the cleansing ritual took a new turn, even the president realized that he had opened Pandora's box, rushing to issue a stern warning on the events witnessed across central Kenya.
The directive must be executed within the confines of the rule of law and natural justice. As such, we do not expect to see unwarranted destruction of property or victimization of legitimate businesses.
But the new warning appears to only fall on deaf ears as looting continues during these raids on liquor factories. But as the president's deadline on fighting illicit brews expires, questions arise on whether the president's directive was a simple solution to a much complex problem. Ashimwilu, KTN.
Still on the same, dozens of factories producing second-generation brews have been raided and looted. This is despite the president's warning against looting and destruction during the alcohol raids. Businessmen are now counting losses as young men in the areas like Thika and Kigumo loot barrels of liquor at their factories. Youth can be seen carrying large drums from inside a factory in Thika, tying them on the motorcycle and riding away, while some stole bottles of alcohol. Others destroyed personal property belonging to well-known businessmen.
Today we managed 100,000 liters of ethanol, and it was because we got it through public tip-off. They are the one who gave us a notice, and they told us last night they saw people coming here. So at least we missed because we are being diverted to other areas, but at least Mwananchi told us this is where we come, and we have found an extra 100,000 liters.
Also, police in Kajiado are looking for two suspects believed to have ferried more than 300 kilograms of bang into Kenya. The bang was found in an abandoned car just a few kilometers from the Tisili roadblock. It is believed that the car was driven into Kenya from Tanzania through the Namanga border. Police believe that the suspects left the car full of bang in the bushes before taking off. The car was dragged to Kajiado police station as officers launch a probe into the incident.
Kwa hivyo hii imepita namna gani? Hakuna kitu wewe. Tunatakuwa na wewe. Hiyo. Kama kilomita. Our officers opened the vehicle, and it was found to be ferrying about 23 bales of bang loaded in polythene papers, weighing about 94 kgs, with a street value of 2,000 per kilo, amounting to 388,000.
Elsewhere, a Muslim cleric has been jailed for 10 years by a Nakuru court for facilitating the trafficking of a 17-year-old girl to a Lebanese man in Nairobi. The court was told that the girl was sold for sex tourism in 2011. Senior resident magistrate Judikistan Kudus presided over the trial of Sheikh Ali. She said that the case could have been among the many cases subjecting young girls in Kenya to sex slavery and suffering in the Middle East countries. The magistrate read part of the minor's testimony, where she said that she was violently defiled by the Lebanese. Samoja was the head of Bilal Muslim Mission Center in Nakuru. He claimed that there were no plans to traffic the girl to Lebanon since she had no academic documents to allow for the processing of her traveling documents. He said that he was only helping the minor the same way he had helped her sister.
That from the time that it was alleged that this happened, that this was brought to the court. I wonder why from the time when it is alleged that it happened, it was never reported. However, between me and God, I know that I never planned anything bad or evil for this family, for this girl. I assisted.
Having listened to the defense by the accused person, I sentenced the accused person to serve 10 years imprisonment, right of appeal for 10 days.
A national speaker, Justin Muturi, has condemned homosexuality, describing it as unwarranted advances being made by the West and disguised as the fight for human rights. He emphasized that even though freedom of expression is enshrined in the Constitution, it has to be in the line with responsibility. The speaker further urged Kenyans to steer clear of such westernized agenda. His sentiments comes days after homosexuality was legalized in all states in America.
Sijawahi kuona vazi moja kwa Biblia inasema mwanaume aolewe ama aoe mwanaume mwenzake.
Mr. Speaker, you are here. You are a very good lawyer. Our constitution is very clear. Marriage is of two people of opposite sex.
Ya simu nimwambie karibu, lakini mambo hiyo ingine usikuje nayo. Ni vizuri. Sisi ni Wakristiano, we do not subscribe to.
All we need to do is we must be vigilant, guard against this, because we have a responsibility to our children and our children's children. We must lead an upright society. We must not allow certain of these obnoxious practices.
And with leaders coming out to condemn homosexuality, the gay, lesbian, and transgender community in Nairobi have organized a protest over the issue. The group argues that remarks made by leaders are targeted at individuals and not the act of homosexuality.
Yes to family.
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 No gay.
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 Obama no gay.
Hatutaki Obama na Obama.
Hatutaki Michelle na Michelle.
Hatutaki Michelle na Michelle.
Hatutaki Obama na magay.
Hatutaki Obama na magay.
Hatutaki Obama na magay. Don't come here to spread the gay agenda. We are God fearing Kenyans. We are God fearing Christians. We are God fearing Africans. Isn't it? Yes. Isn't it? Yes.
Away from that, let's just cross borders a bit. And East African leaders are due to meet in Dar es Salaam this meeting in the morning in a fresh bid to resolve the political crisis in Burundi. The meeting follows weeks of violence that have left at least 70 people dead and nearly 150,000 displaced. It is unclear if Burundi President Pierre Nkurunziza will attend the summit, which comes as he intensifies his campaign for a controversial third bid.
This is the third time leaders from the East African region are meeting in a Tanzanian city in a space of just 2 months to try and unlock the crisis in Burundi. At the heart of the stalemate is a controversial attempt by President Nkurunziza to run for a third term against the provisions of a 2005 peace accord. The first time the leaders met on May 13th, rebel generals attempted to overthrow Nkurunziza while he was away. That coup attempt was violently crushed upon the president's return, and the country has since descended into unending chaos that has left over 70 people dead. The government has since rejected a second UN mediator, Abdoulaye Bateli, for allegedly not respecting the sovereignty of the country. The Senegalese diplomat is accused of spending too much time meeting opposition parties and foreign diplomats. An earlier mediator resigned after the opposition accused him of being too friendly to the government. A number of top government officials, including the second vice president and the speaker of parliament, have since fled the country, fearing for their security after they opposed the president's third-term bid. Nkurunziza has rejected calls to postpone the presidential elections due to be held on 15th of July, or quit his bid for another term in office altogether. The results of the equally controversial parliamentary and local elections held last week are yet to be released. But the United States and Burundi's former colonizer Belgium have vowed not to recognize them.
And still on the scene, the deputy of Burundi's former intelligence chief of staff and coup leader, General Godfred Nyombare, is telling President Pierre Nkurunziza to prepare for war. General Leonard Ngendumana says that his team have no intentions whatsoever to attend the East African Leaders Summit meeting in Dar es Salaam, which is happening today, to discuss the crisis in Burundi. What's more, the general says he has no apologies to make over the recent grenade attacks in the capital, Bujumbura, for which he takes full responsibility. He spoke to our very own Jonathan Namu a little earlier yesterday in an exclusive interview in KTN.
So what was the problem? Why do you think that you needed to have organized a coup, and how did you organize it?
There was a need to organize that coup to make a change in the country because the situation was very bad. And we have noticed that Mr. Nkurunziza and his team were leading the country in a situation of civil war. And we could not accept that our population, our country, is led into a civil war.
But that didn't happen after May the 13th. What went wrong?
It is not because Nkurunziza and his team were stronger than us. I mean, it doesn't mean that within defense and security services, there are a small number of followers who understand our cause. But it has been a kind of misunderstanding.
Was this an overestimation of the amount of loyalty that you had both in the defense forces and in the police, the tools that you need to be able to take this coup? Because Pierre Nkurunziza was able to leave the country and come back safely and ostensibly rule. He's now a few days away from a general election, which by all indications, it looks like he's going to win.
We were 12 generals of National Army and National Police. Also, we had the Minister of Defense behind us. So we were sure of success despite that situation of betrayal of the Minister of Defense, who accepted money from the president, who called him. The Minister of Defense called the president when he was in Dar es Salaam, telling him that the coup was ongoing, and he negotiated money from the president. And when he got money, he gave counter orders, and that caused our fail.
Pierre Nkurunziza claims a lot of loyalty, and to the world outside of Burundi, it seems that way. If a man is able to come back from the brink of a coup and still hold elections, we've just concluded parliamentary elections in Burundi. In 10-11 days, there's going to be a presidential election. That looks like to the rest of the world that this man is in control of the army. He's in control of the police. How confident are you that this isn't the case?
How can you claim loyalty within defense and security forces when we have already 12 generals against you and a big number of colonels, senior officers? And I can tell you that when we were organizing that coup, that team was organizers, and we knew that behind us there might be followers within defense and security forces.
Yes. General Niyombare has been fairly silent after the failed coup of 13th May. Where is he? Is he now the leader of the organization that would ostensibly like to go back into power?
Yeah,
where is he now?
Of course, he's in the country. We are together. We're still fighting.
Yes.
Yes.
He is in Burundi.
Of course.
There's a price on his head. It seems fairly unbelievable that he would be in the same country that he's being searched for.
No, it is not true, because I came from Burundi, I left him there, and I'm still getting orders from him.
All right.
Yes.
Tomorrow there are going to be discussions in Arusha with regard to what's happening in Burundi, trying to find an amicable solution as the date of the elections nears. Yes. Now we know that Pierre Nkurunziza and his government will not be attending those talks. Yes. Is General Niyombare sending any representatives? Are you going to be his representative at the talks, or are you done talking with the Nkurunziza government?
First, let's tell you one thing. Mr. Nkurunziza was absent in the last summit. And if he's absent in the next summit, tomorrow's summit, it doesn't surprise me, because I know what is going on in the country. It's a plan of Nkurunziza, but mainly a plan of Adolf Shimirimana. They are engaged in a war, in a civil war, and based on ethnic divisions. And they want to engage also the region in that civil war based on ethnics, because they want to start by breaking the constitution, by breaking the Arusha reconciliation and peace agreement? Because they want to keep them on the top of the management of the country, fearing of being judged internally or externally, because they've done so many crimes. They've done so many crimes, economically, human rights violations, and then they are protecting themselves. They found tactics to move their members, ruling party members and some others behind them, and they are trying to move towards an open war, an open civil war, just to find a way to protect themselves. But others, they don't know that. They don't know that, and they are following.
But you're alive today, and the parliamentary...
Yeah, fortunately.
Yes, and
Yes.
the parliamentary elections have just concluded, albeit with grenade attacks in different polling stations. Who was responsible for that?
After we saw that we could not succeed our coup on 13 May, we found it was necessary to keep fighting so that we can push Nkurunziza to think, to keep thinking about what he's doing, and maybe to see if he can just resign and say, I cannot continue moving for the third term. But when we saw that he's not in the way of stopping, we organized ourselves so that we can keep fighting him. That's why all those actions ongoing in the country, we are behind them, and our intention is to intensify them until that Peter Nkurunziza understand that we are there to make him understand by force that he has to give up his third term.
He doesn't look like he's going to give up that third term.
Yeah.
In fact, it's less than a fortnight away to that election. And you've said that you're going to intensify your efforts. What does that mean? Does that mean an open civil war in Burundi?
We are obliged because, you see, from the time Nkurunziza and his party said it is only Nkurunziza that will represent us in next presidential elections, there have been protestations in the streets. And then that was initiative of the population to make Nkurunziza understand that people don't want of his third term. And then after there have been initiatives of region, African Union, United Nations, foreign countries, other organizations, they related to Bujumbura to tell Nkurunziza, please don't go, don't continue moving to that term because it's a problem for your society, for your community, for your country. But he refused. Third, you can see that the civil society, churches of Burundi, they did their best to advise Nkurunziza not to go for that term. He refused.
So
protesters,
yes,
instead of understanding their request, they've been killed, they've been massacred. So you can see what's next. The next is just to organize ourselves, just to resist, just to make Peter Nkurunziza understand that he must leave. And then that we are preparing to do it by force, by organizing a military force.
Isn't there any other alternative to this? Because this is exact same reason why the Arusha talks took place all those years ago, that Burundi was able to emerge from that. Pierre Nkurunziza himself was called, I believe, that the negotiator, his nickname at that time at least. Isn't there any other alternative other than an open conflict in Burundi that could spill into years and years of conflict and deaths of hundreds of thousands of people?
On my point of view, I think Nkurunziza is not ready to negotiate with anybody because, there have been a mediator in Burundi, from United Nations. He went back. There is a new mediator. He's doing nothing in Bujumbura because Nkurunziza and his followers, they refused to negotiate with the political parties, opposition, and others. They refused. So if they refuse to negotiate and they continue killing people, they continue doing what they want in the country, they violated the constitutions, they violated all laws in the country. So what next? What next?
Do you think that there's ever going to be a day that you will return without there being a price on your head as there is now?
I have to tell you that if you see me here, I'm only here for one purpose of this interview. Otherwise, I'm coming from Burundi. I let Godfrey Niyombare, Major General in Burundi. We are fighting within the country. We must be there, stay there until we succeed, until we reach our goal.
And that story marks the end of this bulletin. For these and more, do keep it KTN. Our Twitter handle is at KTN Kenya. Do let us know what is happening around you. My name is Ian Ofula. Enjoy the rest of your viewing.